All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Mythology Madness, where tonight we're going to work on our Gorgon, some known as Medusa, some known as Medusa's sister. This one is no one in particular. It is just a Gorgon. The Gorgon of your choice may vary. Um, what have we done so far? So I think this is session number 4. The first 2 sessions were spent doing the sketch and trying to get a really good detailed sketch in. And then we worked on the hair and some of the dark areas that we know we're going to have. Then we did the flesh, the skin, and then the scales. So this side of her face is going to be the beautiful side. This side of her face is going to be the wicked evil side. And then we're starting her off with long locks that spiral into the snakes. What I want to do tonight is focus on. So, right now, the background is just a wash, which isn't really what I want it to be. So, I'm going to go a little bit more opaque on the background, keeping it about the same color. This is going to be a blue. And actually, I think I'm going to use sky blue straight out of the tube for this. And then this is going to be a mixture of green and tan, or something of the sort, maybe a sage green and a tan. I'm going to play with a few colors and see what we can come up with. And then you got Athena's temple in the back here, which will be the same color as this. So I'm just going to go ahead and start off by putting in, and the reason I want to do this first is so that the painting sits on top of the background. All right, so I'm going to start off with just some straight sky blue. This is gouache. And so what I'm able to do is I can reactivate my palette from last week with a little water. This is what it looks like now. And what have I used so far? I've used some sage green, some yellow ochre, crimson red, white and black. And that's what this comes from for the most part. And sky blue was done for the wash. So I'm going to go with a thicker or more opaque sky blue and just kind of line some stuff out and see what that gets me. If anything. I just don't want it to look like a wash. I want it to be a little thicker. Actually, I need to go ahead and, oh, I forgot to wet my palette. I'll be right back. I'm talking about reactivating the palette, and I forgot to actually wet it up. So now I've got it wet, and we're gonna go ahead and get started here with some sky blue. Welcome everybody, and thank you for attending. I really do appreciate it. Mr. Black 75, I got your message. Welcome and thanks. Tonight we're working on mythology painting. On Thursdays I do mythology painting, and then on Saturday is when I do pop culture sketch cards. But thanks for stopping by. Thank you for support. Thank you for your support, especially. I really do appreciate it. And your warm, I was going to say, for your warm message. How's everything going tonight? I'm probably using the wrong brush for this. Well, this is the right brush to start out anyway. I'm glad everything arrives safe and sound. That's the main thing I worry about in shipping original art is if it's a print or a copy of something, I don't worry about it too much because if something happens to it, of course, I can just remail it out. But when I send out an original, you never know what could happen. Never know what could happen. But I'm glad everything arrived. Let me see. Is this? Yeah, that's kind of what I want. I'm glad everything arrived safe and sound for you. And let's see here. I'm not going to go too detailed with the background. Just I wanted to be more opaque than the wash that's on there now. That's all. Hey Ray, how you doing? I will be having, this last show, the portfolio purge went great. I think I only have a few older pieces left that I will try to, some of them, I still have a lot of stuff in the shop up for $1. It's in the bin now. It should be in the bin now. If it's not, I apologize. It should be. And then uh, the stuff that is the wrong area, but that's okay. The stuff that I have coming up this year is just going to be a lot more finished pieces. I think I want to do more finished pieces than sketches now. Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't been getting the notifications. I got back into it. Rel- I think this is. I don't know. I won't try to guess what show. For anyone that doesn't know, Hell Candy, super artist, fantastic person. She will definitely make you laugh, and I love watching her work. She is incredible. Super patient with the details, letting the creation just take shape, not rushing it. I mean, just seeing you work is so pleasing. I can't believe I did that. It's so pleasing. I saw that you all were doing some stuff like that. I don't know how long I'm going to paint tonight. Um, what I really want to do is get the background, and I want to try to get the first coat on the snakes. I shouldn't say on the snakes, on the hair in general. And if I can do that, then I will be good for tonight, and then I can have fun. And that's what I'm hoping for, to have some fun. But so far, every Gorgon session that I've had, I've been able to get exactly where I want to within an hour or two. And I think once I kind of outline the hair, things will go quicker. I think the hardest part for the snakes and the hair is going to be finding the right color, because I haven't really decided on a color yet. I didn't do a color comp for this, which I should have. I really should have done a color comp and worked out the colors ahead of time. But I'm glad the one thing I did do was a detailed drawing, because that has made the difference in getting it work done. This this Gorgon I want to make prints available for. I'm going to make prints available for, I should say. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do open prints or limited edition prints. The Pegasus is done. I'm also going to do prints on that. The Minotaur that's done, I'm not going to do prints on that one. So I need to come back and decide what to do for that. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So this weekend, sketch card Saturday night. Last weekend was the portfolio purge. This weekend, I'll be doing sketch cards. I don't have a theme yet, so I'm open to themes for this Saturday. The last time I did Justice League Dark, and it was fun doing Batman and Swamp Thing, Zatanna, Constantine, which I realized I had done several times. I didn't realize I had drawn Constantine so many times. But I do want to do, I'm looking for a theme for this weekend for the sketch card Saturday night. I haven't decided on one yet. So I've been trying to switch up between, because I always, when in doubt, I'll always go to DC Universe because I love the DCU and the DCEU. So that, but a lot of people have told me they get tired of me always doing DC, which I don't really care. I'll do it if no one, if there's not something specifically somebody wants to see, I will always revert back to DC. I love the DC characters. I love the DC universe. Um, a lot of my inspirations are from the DCU. Uh, I did X-Men. I did Transformers. I did Justice League Dark. I did shoot. What else have I done? I like. I could do just some 9x12 pen and ink sketches. That's always an option. Just pick one character or maybe two and just do something, a detailed sketch. That's always an option. Because the other thing I didn't realize is that I had sold so many of my 9x12s that my portfolio was actually, at the last show I must have sold a lot because it was almost empty. And for some reason I thought I had a bunch left and I don't, which is a good problem to have because I always like putting new work out there. But because I'm not going to a lot of uh, conventions this year, um, I'm going to try to focus more on just doing stuff locally or virtually. Lartman9, thanks for hopping on. Godzilla verse. Yeah, that actually would be pretty cool. I put up a post on my Instagram asking people if they wanted me to paint Godzilla, and surprisingly, the vote was yes. Put him into the monster mythology. So I will be doing a painting of Godzilla. I don't know what's in the Godzilla verse. I'd have to, of course, Godzilla and Kong. I know them, uh, but I'd have to look otherwise to see who else is in there. So, Lartman, now that you have the Spider-Man painting in your hands, how much? So I always tell people what you're seeing is just the paintings. There's no way, like Blackman was like, yeah, it looks totally the Batman black and white looked totally different when he got it in a good way. And I'm like, yeah, it's hard to see it on camera for pen and ink, but the paintings, they're really hard to like capture what they really look like. So once you got it in your hands, what did you think? Were you pleasantly surprised, or were you like, man, let me send this thing back? What were your thoughts? Who else besides Kong and Godzilla? Is there a Godzilla verse, or are you thinking of just the Titans in general? Isn't that what they're calling them? They're calling them Titans. I have been watching Legacy of Monsters. I think it's called. Pretty good show. I was pleasantly surprised. Someone referred me to it, and I was like, "It looks dumb," and they were like, "Just watch it, doggone it." It was one of my friends. They're like, "Damn it, just watch it because I told you to." So I watched it, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that's actually pretty good." It is the Titans, so the Titans would be the Godzilla verse. I would just have to figure out who they were. I could make one up. If it's the Titans, then yeah, I could definitely. I kind of see how they look. And now I will say this, Ray, aka Hell Candy. If there's anybody that could make up some great monsters for the Titans, it would be you. I mean, maybe you come up with a cool design and then you do a sketch and I do a painting. That might be cool because your monster designs are 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 insanely good. I have trained a little bit in concept art, so given a prompt, I'm used to coming up with something pretty cool. Um, so I'd have to come up with a what's a prompt for the Titans? Is it? I guess I don't understand. Like King Kong has always been my favorite over Godzilla. I've always been a King Kong guy. Um, Giant ape, vicious. I got it. Boom. Godzilla. I'm not really sure. What the creation background is. Snake, lizard, gecko. I don't know. I think he's cool. I think I do want for the Godzilla painting. I want to kind of give it my own take on what I think of when I think of Godzilla. So it won't be the traditional Godzilla. I'm sure. Mothra, Rodin. Oh, I didn't know Mothra. So maybe I'm probably more familiar with it than what I actually think, just because I haven't seen it in so long, or because Godzilla. I'm 54, so for me, Godzilla is the old guy in the costume, uh, which was always cool. We thought Godzilla was cool, but I think when King Kong came out, it was just it's like, oh, now that's it went from cool to that's badass. That was the difference. Is yeah, Godzilla was cool, but King Kong was badass. And I was like, yeah, Kong's the man. But I understand why a lot of people love Godzilla. I see people with their Godzilla shirts, and again, I like it. I just some of it I just don't get. I'm like, what is the thing about Godzilla that just gets people so hyped up? I think what I don't like about him are the short hands. I'm like, what are you really? I know the tail is deadly, but those Godzilla arms, those, I'm like, man, you can't hit nobody. You can't block a punch. You're just gonna take one to the face every time. That's what's gonna happen. Those are good ideas. Those are great ideas. That would actually be pretty cool for Sketch Card Saturday Night. So I think that may be a good a good show. And then I'll put the sketches up for $1. I think that's where I want to take it now. is I want to try to do more of the premium sketch cards and then offer them up for $1 for a short time. And then if they don't get picked up, then they'll go back to full price and just sit in the bin. And I'll take them to comic conventions if they're still around. But for people who actually watch the show and support, give them an opportunity to pick up a pretty nice looking sketch card for $1. And then what I always tell people, and it's a little bit self-serving and a little bit egotistical, I'm sure. I'm like, if you think you're going to get something for me for $1 in 5 years, you're probably off. You're probably off. I'm working hard to grow the brand. I think I'm doing pretty good in marketing and getting professional work, and I want to make sure the people who were there on the way up reap rewards. All right, so that went by. How we doing on time? I was a little bit late to the show, but that didn't take too long. I budgeted 1 hour to do the background, 1 hour to do the hair. But I think I can get the hardest part is just working around the snakes. And like I said, I'm going to do the background first. So when I do the snakes, they sit on top of the background. And for this, I want some sage green, or did I have olive green? Actually, oh, yeah, I think I'm going dark here with the body. So I'm going to go sage green. With I don't know. That's a lot. I apologize here for a second. I want to make sure I get a nice color. I think the sage may just not be. I'll start off with sage up and then go darker. I'll do that. What time is your show tonight, Ray? Oh, are you gonna? Well, now you normally work a lot later than me. Are you gonna be on for a while? Because I would love to catch your show tonight. Okay, then yeah, I will be tagging you up. Are you going on with Basil? You all tag team? Okay, cool, cool. Who am I looking for? Who's hosting, you or Basil? Who's starting it up? Well, I follow you both, so I'll see it. I'll see it. And then once I'm finished here, I'll jump on you all's and finish up my night that way. Ladies and gentlemen, Hell Candy. Oh, that's what I want to do. I want to add some type of tan to it too, didn't I? Actually, I could add a touch of burnt sienna. No, that's too dark. You really got me thinking about the Godzilla verse now. I think that's a great opportunity to do some nice pen and ink work. Mothra. I forgot all about Mothra. Oh, you're not distracting me at all. What I do on the streams, I think this may be the first one that you've been on for the painting or for so like the on the audit the auction shows, I just try to do that. But typically on my shows, I just chat about anything. Nothing in particular. The On the shows where I'm actually doing work, I'll throw some stuff in the bin if people are interested, but really this is something I'd be doing anyway. So I figure, why not chat with some people, meet some people while I'm working? That's what I like to do. And then, get ideas and learn about new stuff. Uh it and I don't know why I forgot about Mothra, to be honest. I completely forgot he was in that that realm. So yeah, you're not disturbing me at all. When I need to focus, then I'm not streaming. Um, so when I'm doing my pro work, if I'm working on a comic or I'm working on a painting for a client, then I'm not streaming. I'm focused on that, and when I do the finishing on some of these paintings, I usually do it off camera. One, it's boring. Once I get the painting to a certain point, and now I'm just finishing it. It's boring to stream that because I'm focused. I'm not saying anything, and people are just seeing me like dab here, dab there, dab here, and it's a pretty boring stream. I can't watch the chat and see what people are talking about. So the ones like this are the ones I enjoy, where I'm just having fun, uh, and enjoying a good evening. It reminds me of when I would hang out at the comic shop with my artistic friends, and we just grab a table and we'd be drawing. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of drink and draw, but I used to do a lot of drink and draws, and I love those. Those are fun. The figure drawing classes, those are usually 50-50, because sometimes you get some very serious people in there, and it's a different type of audience, and then sometimes it's just people who are having fun. The models who come in do um, not the nude drawing, but the figure that they'll be clothed, and then it's just fun. Yeah, drink and draw is a lot of fun. If you ever go to a comic convention, there's usually a drink and draw session that evening, or it may just be a couple of people who get together and go, "Hey, uh, tonight when the convention closes, we're gonna go, drink and draw at pub so and so, or whatever the case may be." And those are always fun. You get to meet people. Everybody just whips out their sketchbook and or their iPad, and just sketch, have a drink, have fun. Sometimes people will work on whatever projects they're working on, and that's always fun. I like it when people make art fun, not too serious. Of course, there is a time that. Excuse me while I whip this out. Yeah. Now, when you get into the nude, if you've ever done the nude, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different. You got somebody up there with their junk out. You want to be professional. They're like, and they're getting paid. Nobody's whipping their junk out for free, male or female. And Figure drawing classes, those people normally get paid too. They're professionals, but you can usually have fun. But if somebody's out there butt ass naked and you're cracking jokes, yeah, that could go not so well sometimes. So those classes are usually a little bit more tame, um, unless it's a private session. So for a couple of years, I had a private art studio, and I would hire models personally. And then, you know, since I knew them, we could have some fun, joke around and stuff. But still, if somebody, even if they're not naked, if they're, in a bikini or underpants and, topless, you got to be respectful of that. That's, you know, I've had a couple of good looking models that I've hired a couple of times. And then I've had some of my friends go, "Oh, I want to come to the next one." I'm like, "You're not an artist." "I know, but I just want to," like, no, you're not there to gawk at the person and, be disrespectful. That's not cool. Have you ever seen Blazing Saddles? You know the quote. Have you seen it? I love Mel Brooks. That is one of the first most hilarious movies I've ever seen. How about you, Mr. Black? Have you seen Blazing Saddles? Gene Wilder, and I forget the guy's name. Crap. Spaceballs was hilarious. Oh, really? Yeah, he's one of those people who's like funny is funny, and if you feel offended, well, don't watch it. He It would be extremely hard for him to be successful today, right? That would be really hard for him because of that fact that it's a different time and place. But yeah, his movies were always hilarious. And if you haven't seen Blazing Saddles, I would definitely say watch it. Mind who you watch it with, because it can be offensive if you take it the wrong way. If you take it as, I understand this is comedy, it's great. If you take it as anything other than that, yeah. Yeah, it would be hard. It would be hard. It would um if anybody watches Ricky Gervais, he's kind of made from that same type of cloth where it's like it's comedy, people. It's funny. Don't don't get all wrapped up in, "Oh my god, I can't believe you said that." I like when Ricky Gervais, I forgot what he was hosting with I think it may have been the Oscars, where he's like, "Come up, say thank you, and get the fuck off the stage." He's like, nobody cares about your views on this, that, and the other. You're here to get an award for acting. Get your award. Shut up. Say thank you. Get off the stage. And it was a joke. And most people, there were a few people who were offended, but most people got it. It's Ricky Gervais. What did you expect? Bill Burr, I think he's hilarious, and he pushes it to the edge. I was like, oh my god, he that clip is still on YouTube. If you look up Ricky Gervais and the Oscars, it is hilarious. Um, I If I know something's comedy, I don't take it offensively. Um, Now, is all comedy for all people? Nope. But the cool thing is, you don't have to watch it. It's the same thing I tell people when they go, I don't know about this picture. I go, the cool thing is, you don't have to buy it, and that's not the one for you. I remember I was at a convention one time. So I love Minotaur, and I think everybody knows that. I love the Minotaur. I'm a Taurus, and I usually do Minotaur with 3 fingers. And the guy was arguing with me about how many fingers should be on a Minotaur. And so I told him, well, I've seen the Minotaur as I traveled in the military. I ran across them, and they really have 3 fingers. And he kind of looked at me like, what? I was like, yeah, I've seen them in person. They have 3 fingers. And he's like, you sure? Now at this point, I'm like, okay. My mother used to always tell me, don't argue with a fool because people won't know the difference between you and the fool. And I'm like, I just told you that the Minotaur, I've seen them in person and they really have 3 fingers. And you're looking at me like, for real. I don't even know how that's even something we should be talking about after that point. And he was like, well, I'm gonna have to double check. And when he left, me and my friends at the table, like, what the hell is he gonna double check? Like he's gonna go on National Geographic or something and be like, how many Minotaur are really, how many fingers are really on a Minotaur? We thought it was hilarious that he went off to check to see if I was telling the truth. He's trying to find it. He's like, I gotta find this. I know there's gotta be a video out there or something. Oh shoot. Oh man. Mr. Black, where are you located in the country? Oh, Rhode Island. How is are you all into the cold and snow up there yet? I mean, how is the weather treating you? It sucks. Born and raised in Rhode Island, or did you move there? I know in my mind, I'm thinking, you just mailed him a package. You should know where he lives. but I've mailed in the past week, I think, because I just finished a comic book and a calendar. So in the past month, I've mailed so many packages out. It's oh, okay. Um, I don't think I've been to Rhode Island. I've definitely been up in the Northeast, and but I don't think I've been to Rhode Island. I don't know if I would ever. There's a Rhode Island Comic Con though. There's a very, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Ray, take it easy. I'm going to jump on. I'm actually on schedule, so I think I'm going to be finishing pretty good. Take it easy. I'll see you in a little bit. Thank you for stopping by. Isn't there a Rhode Island Comic Con that's pretty big, if I'm not mistaken? For some reason, I have that on my list. Ah, okay. I thought so. Um, what time of year is that one usually? I know it's not now. I'm pretty sure it's in the summertime. I'm sure they're not inviting people up there when it's snowing, freezing cold. But I know you all get some pretty big names up there too, which is really cool. Oh, that's the Rhode Island School of Design. That's what's up there. The Rhode Island School of Art and Design, or of Design, or something like that. Oh, it happens in November. Ugh, that's kind of pushing it, ain't it? That's borderline oh damn weather. Or is it still pretty nice in November? Or is it perfect? Summer's dying down. It seems like I'm from Indiana, and by November, it was definitely jacket weather. It was good football weather. We'd go out and play street football or field football. But I don't know if I'd just be hanging out in Rhode Island in November. Really? Rhode Island School of Design Institute? Yeah, one of my good friends and artist, Kimber, she went there. I've actually done some work with her. She won an Emmy for working on Mr. Robot, if you've never heard of her. And then there's an artist here now who's in our local community, Derek, and I forgot his last name, Gores, Derek Gores. He's got an art gallery down here. He does amazing work with shoot, I forgot what you call it, where he builds pictures by taking clips of other pictures. Like he'll cut up magazines and take the pieces, collage. He does collages that he makes pictures out of torn up pictures. Like, oh, that picture has a nice blue in it, and he'll tear off that piece of blue and put it on there. And his work is incredible, believable. He just did one that looks just like Keanu Reeves as Berserker. I was like, is that what that is? He's like, I don't even know what that is. I was like, well, you may not know, but that's exactly what it looks like. It is so sharp. It's a piece he's working on now, and I went by his studio for a live drawing class, and it's called class, but nobody actually does instruction. It's just artists come there to practice, newbies come there to have fun, enthusiasts, hobbyists come in to, it's for something to do, but it's called a figure class. But it's what he does is really sharp. It's so cool. And when you're far back and you look at the picture and you just see the image, and then you walk up closer and you see all the torn up magazine pictures and newspaper pictures or whatever, and you see the little pieces of color, it pops and it's unbelievable. Yeah, I love seeing stuff like that. It is and the patience to do it is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So speaking of Titans, have you watched the Legacy of Monsters show? Oh, you like to do the binge watch where you just load them all up and go? I prefer that too. Although I only like doing it when I know I'm gonna like the show. So like if I didn't like Legacy of Monsters, it would be easy for me to bail on it because I'd be like, next time it come out, I'm not gonna watch it. Where if it was all out and I started it and didn't like it, I would just have to finish. It's like if I'm watching a bad movie, I have to finish the movie. Got you. It's on. What is it on? Is it Apple or is it Netflix or Amazon? We got rid of cable many years ago, and now we just have maybe 2 or 3 subscriptions. We have Amazon Prime because we use Amazon Prime. We didn't get it because of the shows they offer. Oh crap! I just cleaned out my brush, and I just see a big spot I missed at the bottom. Right after I cleaned out my brush, I forgot this entire spot down here. Um, and then what else do we have? Netflix is what I watch a lot. I haven't gone to HBO Max, which some of my friends can't believe because they're like, "You're such a DC fanboy, and all the DC stuff is on HBO Max." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not worth enough of the subscription." And now Apple has bought so many other services for TV shows and series and stuff. I was like, whoa, because we do have the Apple TV, Hulu. I used to watch a lot, but I don't that much anymore. Netflix, I watch a lot. Which one? Which one do you have? The Amazon Prime one? Yeah, yeah. It's I, when they started doing shows, I just was like, it really doesn't matter because that's not what I use it for. And so some of the shows, I was like, whatever. And then they really started getting some good shows. And I was like, whoa, okay, you got my attention there, Amazon Prime. And because it's something that I wouldn't cancel anyway, just because we do get a lot of Amazon, and getting that free delivery and free expedited delivery is very cool. Um, it's a real bonus that they offer these nice shows. I'm probably gonna cancel my Hulu after I see these last few series that I want to. Um, that's the one I use the least. Yeah, I mean they're killing the game. They're killing the game. And I'll probably just get down to Apple TV and Prime. But Netflix has. Oh no, I take that back. I have Disney because of the kids and the family. Actually, they have so much stuff uh, between the Disney, the Marvel. We do have Disney, and then when they made the deal for, was it Disney, Hulu, and ESPN Plus? I love the UFC fights, and ESPN Plus. That package deal is pretty cool. So, and that's really the only reason I still have Hulu, is because the Disney deal, the Disney Plus deal, comes with Hulu and ESPN Plus. Just having Disney and ESPN Plus would cost me more than the deal. That's the only reason I still have Hulu. After I watched Sons of Anarchy, I don't remember turning it on very much anymore. Um, if But I used to spend so much money on the pay-per-view fights. I would buy them all, which is crazy because I'd be like, I'm not buying the next fight, and then I'd buy the next fight. Then I'd be mad at myself for spending the money. Um, all right, the hair. I'm gonna go with a. That's where I want my deep green to kind of. Ooh. Uh, I stopped doing the. Oh shoot! I'm sorry. My green cap is too solid on. The If I stop watching the fights, then I would cancel that and just keep the Disney Plus. Oh crap! I'll be back just a second. I can't get the cap off my paint. Give me just a minute here. Sorry about that. I gotta remember to clean up the cap next time. I gave up my game system. I played a lot of Xbox, and these days I just don't even have time. I can't remember last time I even cut on my Xbox. Uh, it's just been sitting there in the living room, feeling sad and lonely, and I miss it. It misses me. But the TV is something I can do while I paint. So that's why I enjoy the movies and the TV shows. Is gaming. When I'm gaming, all I can do is game, and I love it, but it's so unproductive. is so unproductive. And I love the last two games I played were Assassin's Creed Black Flag, tons of hours. Well, you don't even need a TV these days. What I'll do a lot of time is I'll log into my computer. And my computer, I have an external monitor hooked up. I have a laptop and then the TV. And like if I'm working, I also do some 3D work. I do 3D environments. I'm actually working on an animated short in 3D, like kind of like Arcane Show, and I'll put on the TV monitor. I'll just log in and put a movie up so it's right there in front of me. On the TV that I have on the wall, it's not hooked up to anything. It's just on the internet. So I'm watching, like the movie I'm watching now is just through the internet. And I love it when the cable company's like, because we canceled years, they always try to get us back, which I understand. You know, that's their job. But I'm like, nah, I'm good. And they're like, is there anything we can do to get back your business? And I was like, you know what, to be honest, even if you offered it for me for free, I wouldn't want it at this point. Once I got rid of the what, 400 channels and all that crap, I felt better. You know, there's no more paralysis about, oh my God, what are we gonna watch? There's so much stuff on TV. It was just overwhelming. It was just too much. And I'm this paintbrush is too big. It was too much. It was just too much. And you wind up flipping. And you never watch anything. At least with the shows on Prime and Disney or whatever, I know what I want to watch when I turn it on. It's a lot less flipping everything. It's not the right brush either. Right to the point. That's it. Just boom. This is what I want to watch. Go to it. Done. What are some of the shows you watch? Any cool shows that you would recommend recently? You've got Prime. Is there something on Prime that you think is a good find recently? I'm watching Reacher because I read the books. I love Reacher. I think that's a fantastic show. Wheels of Time, that was good too. I was like, ooh man. The Boys. Boys are good. Good Omen. I'm not familiar with Good Omen. What is Good Omen? I'm hoping this green dries a little bit lighter than what's going down because it looks a little bit too close to what I have on there now. One angel, one devil helping each other. with living people. Hmm. They're helping each other for the good or for the well. Oh, that it sounds interesting already. I would assume the devil wants bad, but they're helping people with the angel. Right now in the background, I got on Immortals, which is one of my favorite movies. I found that way before Henry Cavill started doing some of the other stuff he got big on, primarily because I like the mythology piece of it. Oh, okay. That does sound pretty cool then. I may have to check it out then. Good Omen. I'll put that down. What else have I seen pretty good? Oh, the if you Without Remorse. Have you seen that with Michael B. Jordan on the Tom Clancy? So I love Tom Clancy. I think his books are fantastic. And I watched the movie. There we go. That's what I needed right there. Great, great movie. However, what I will say is, if you do like that type of stuff and you like Tom Clancy, read the book Without Remorse. The movie is nothing like the book, and I shouldn't say nothing like the book. It's not the book. I wouldn't say it's nothing like the book, but the book is crazy good. The book is so much better. It's a different it's a different story almost. Kind of the same premise. Yeah. I would say same premise, different story. But the book is unbelievable. It's it's a page turner. A lot of times when I'm doing this off screen, I put on an audiobook because I do like having some type of background noise. One, it kind of takes my mind off things, help me zone out. Two, I have tinnitus ringing in the ear. So sitting in absolute quiet is very bad for me because then all I hear is the ringing. And that sucks. That sucks big time. The reason I don't listen to audiobooks while I live stream is because nobody else wants to listen to a book while I while I'm painting. Plus, I don't know if it'll violate something by doing that. Just have an audiobook, even though I run them from the library uh, through the Libby app or through the library app. So I don't know how good or bad it would be. But yeah, the audio book or the just reading the book Without Remorse, Tom Clancy, so good, so good. It's ridiculous. I don't know of any. Wheels of Time, like I said, is a really good show. Uh, I think they've got 2 seasons of that, and I watched that. I started watching it just because of the trailer, but after the first few episodes, they had me hooked. I was like, okay, yeah, that's a winner. That's a winner. And it was real good. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're doing good now. We're smoking through. Just trying to get in. I'm using this darker green so I don't lose some of my lines. It is not going to be the green or that prominent, I should say. It's not going to be that prominent when this is all said and done. But I'll be able to use it to fill in the gaps of the painting like I did with the snake skin on her. And then when I go back, I'll be able to detail it out and I'll have a good stencil to work off of. Do you do any art or are you a collector of comics? Are there certain genres that you enjoy? Anime. I think drawing, doodling is one of the best things that people can do. It's just, even when people say, oh, I don't draw, I go, just doodle. Just why? Because that's one of the first things that you learn to do as a kid. Every kid doodled. You give a kid a piece of paper and a crayon, and they're happy. And I think that happiness doesn't go away as we get older. I think it's just exemplified more. And we either push it down and don't do it anymore, or we continue to do it. And it's relaxing and it's fun. And every now and then you come up with something that's like, that was pretty cool. That was kind of funny. Especially if you're in a meeting or you're bored or downtime. You're on the train or the bus or a plane, you pull out your sketch pad or iPad. It's just fun. Anime, I have not been able to get into anime. Not because I've avoided it. I haven't found anything that really struck me as I've got to learn more about it. I've seen some pretty cool stuff. People have shown me different things. I'm like, okay, yeah, that seems pretty cool. But it wasn't enough to make me dive into it. My middle son, he loves anime and he sends me stuff now and then. Hey, Dad, check this out. And I go, okay, I'll check it out. And it's funny because he's all my kids are grown now, but he's so goofy. He sends me stuff and he giggles. He'll be giggling the whole time. And I'm like, dude, what are you giggling about? And he'd be like, it's funny. And I'll go, okay, I'll check it out. Oh, I forgot that spot too. What type of anime are you particularly into? We got what? Dragon Ball Z. We've got the now I can't think of it. Crap, what's the kid's name? Goku. Oh, Sailor Moon. Oh, okay. Sailor Moon went through a big resurgence a couple of years back. A lot of people are like, Sailor Moon, Sailor Moon. I'd go to comic conventions and you'd see Sailor Moon cosplay all over the place. And then it just kind of died out. What happened? What is Sailor Moon still the bomb, or did it really just kind of pop back up and phase out? Because I'd say I know last year, I don't remember seeing but maybe one or two Sailor Moons at all the conventions I went to. Other stuff got popular because they got a little risque, and Sailor Moon kind of kept it PG 13, and so kind of lost that adult audience. Okay, that would make sense. I could understand that. I've got a friend who's a pinup artist, Lance Footer, legally blind. He draws with a magnifying glass. I don't know if you've heard of him. Fantastic artist, and he does a lot of naughty pinups. And he'll do a censored version and an uncensored version. What they call it, not safe for work. And I always mess with him. I go, dude, you're just a pervert. But he's a fantastic artist. He does some really cool stuff. I've been trying to get him hooked up with Penthouse Comics. They just restarted back up. And oh, son of a. Oh. Well, here's a great opportunity to show you how gouache works. Since it's water-based, and I just spilled a big glob right in the middle. I can take a brush that's slightly wet. I can get most of it out. Almost like an eraser. Just soak it up with some water. Just soak that right up. Get that bad color out of there. That's one of the cool things about gouache. Easily corrected. Easily corrected. And what's funny is I drop a brush on a painting at least once per painting. I don't know. I haven't figured out how not to do it. And I just take that little bit and erase it. And then I can come over here and just kind of blend it back out of there. Like it never even happened. Boom. Done. And then when it dries, no one will ever know that I dropped a big green blob right in the middle of it. Oil paints, you can do almost the same thing because they're so thick. You can usually just take a palette knife and scoop it up for the most part. Watercolor, gouache is water-based, but it's more opaque. Straight watercolor, when that happens, that's it. It ain't going nowhere. You can cover it up with pen and ink or gouache, but the watercolor itself, yeah, it's there. So, but I have not figured out how not to drop my paintbrush on a painting at least once. With gouache, the worst thing you could do is just leave it and then try to deal with it. because if it dries, then it's really a big problem. But other than that, not too bad. Again, I want to thank everybody for hopping on, joining just to say hello, just to check me out, see what I'm working on. And just as a recap, I think this is part 4 of working on the Gorgon. These videos are loaded onto YouTube to view later. I don't do them as tutorials. I do them for 2 reasons these days. One, I'm going to be painting anyway, so I might as well live stream it and make it available on video. And 2, because of AI now, artists need to show that they know how to art, because people are being challenging. Oh, you didn't do that. That's AI, which is, to an artist, that's like one of the most disrespectful things you could say. But I understand why people are saying it now. There are a lot of people who use AI and then say, hey, I did this. And okay, you did it. You didn't paint it. Some people are claiming they are an AI artist. And I'm like, I don't know if I can give you the artist tag. Maybe you create images using AI. And I've seen some pretty cool stuff. I'm not going to lie. But there's no original. There's no, and that's the other thing I like about doing this. Even if I make prints of this, not if, because I am definitely making prints of this, there's an original to it. This will be the original. And so if somebody wants the original, I have an original. I have what everything is based off of, not just a printout. And then if someone goes, yeah, but did you do it? I go, well, you can actually see me do it from beginning to end on YouTube. And you can, watch me every step of the way. So, as a lot of people are worried about, what AI will and won't do, I'm like, yeah, you can get it to the point where it's making nice images, but you will not have, at this point, original artwork. Now, maybe one day you will, and by that time, maybe I won't care anymore. Because we already have 3D printers. I don't know. It's not a huge step to go from a 3D printer to a automated painter that will produce an original. But I love this right here. Taking the colors, mixing them together, creating an original piece of work that one day somebody's going to pick up and enjoy. Is there, when you sketch and draw, are there certain things you like to do? Or are there certain genres or certain topics that you find more interesting than others? How are we doing on time? Oh, we're right on time. I love seeing that. I'll be done with these last 2 snakes, and then I can just work some fill in. pretty quick, I think. And for some of these areas that dry brush out, I'm like, that's cool. I'm with you on that, brother. Nothing wrong with me. You know what's funny is in comics, you mainly draw guys. And you get a lot of people, myself included, get really good at drawing big muscular guys. And then and I was part of that, just big muscular guys. But it is definitely more fun to draw women. It's more challenging to draw women for sure. Men can be boxy, um, heavily veined. Uh, you can put a lot of detail into a guy, and he can look young or old. Where women is not the same. With women, the more you put in, the older they look. So you have to make every line count. And if you do it wrong, it looks like you drew an old lady. And so I commend you because that doing women makes everything else so much easier, especially if you draw women of various ages. Uh, the anatomy of drawing women, anatomy for every human being is the same. But with men, we don't have a lot of the curves and structure underneath or on top of the basic anatomy. So you can just cut it up, and again, you can hide a bunch of stuff. Women, nope. It has to look good. It has to be right. The more you try to hide stuff, the easier it is to spot. And this green did dry lighter than the black of the eyes. I don't know how it comes through on camera, but it's pretty sharp. Drawing hair is still a struggle for me. It's it is I continue to take classes on it. I continue to uh, practice it. Sometimes when I go out in public, I just sketch hairstyles for men and women because when I'm working on comics, when you do a crowd scene, you really want some variety in the way people look because that's the way life is. Um, for me, the problem is it's hard for me to go when I'm sketching to go from big to small. So like when I'm painting, it's easy for me to block in big colors and then drill down, drill down, drill down into detail. For some reason, when I'm drawing hair, I don't do the large block in and then scale it down to some details and then add a little bit more. And it takes me longer than it should to do hair. And some of the people who I work with, they, I'm like, man, I gotta practice more on this hair. But that's a good one. That is a good one. Is hair. especially female hair and different hairstyles. I go to my daughter sometime. I go, look at this character and tell me what kind of hairstyle she has. And she'll be like, oh, it looks like she should have a pixie cut. And then I go, okay. And I turn around and come back. What's a pixie cut? Even though these days I can just Google it. I like for her to kind of give me her, do you know this singer or this actress or this whatever? That's a pixie cut. And I'm like, gotcha. Gotcha. And then it turns out, oh, I like the pixie cut. I didn't even know what it was. I just would see it and go, oh, wow, that's a nice hairdo. Little did I know I was a pixie cut fan. All right. Yeah, Google is one of my favorite tools now. All right, we're doing good on time. About 15 more minutes. And now I'm just going to try to put some dabs of color in between all of the green, just like I did here. And I have, let me think. Do I just go with I gotta grab my color wheel. I gotta do some playing around for a second. I like keeping a color wheel just because it gives me a good splotch of colors all the way around. And on this one, it's pretty cool because it'll say, here's the color. If you add red, this is what you get. If you add yellow, if you add blue, if you add white. I'm like, oh, okay. So I can get a good range. And then on the other side, it gives the primary with complementaries, triads, tetradads. So I love this. It's a good way to just look at it and go, oh, okay. And I don't have to do a bunch of mixing. I can come up with something that I want. And then I can kind of like take this and look at, kind of where I want to go with it. And probably what I want to do is add a little yellow ochre to the green and see what I get. And this may not turn out good, but it's just paint. This is what the palette is looking like now. Yeah, I was mixing a lot of paint and going through a lot of markers sometime when I was doing some marker work, watercolor work. I'm sorry. I was thinking watercolors. And then I was like, let me just get a color wheel and just have a bunch of colors ready to go. To kind of give me an idea of what I want to do. And I think I found the right color that I want. Yeah, that's it. And then this part of the process, I don't have to be too precious with because I'm just going to go in and, well, I take that back. On the snake heads, I probably have to take my time a little bit. But for a lot of it, I'm just going to go in and put in dabs of color. And I like that color. And I think what this will give me is a good idea of where I want to take the painting for the finish. But blocking in the color for me is the main part. Is just getting that color palette down, which is something that I learned to do from the digital art. When I'm working digitally, it's easy to just create a color palette and then just have it off to the side, have it on a layer I can turn off and on, and then it's always available. And on a painting, I can't really do that. I could have it on maybe like a separate piece of paper or something, which is why I try not to clean my palette too much. And thank you, I appreciate that, because I like to keep, which is the good thing about gouache again. I can leave this, let it dry, add some water next week or tomorrow, this weekend, and reactivate the paint. But it's a permanent color palette now. So if I go to mix that color again, I have it here. Even though it may be dry, I can go, oh, there's the color that I'm working toward. Originally, my plan was to be an oil painter growing up. And then I went into the military, came back, and I didn't think about painting too much. I did pen and ink stuff coming back, getting back into it, got into some comic work. And then I was like, I want to get back into painting. And I started doing watercolors, and I was taking a class in concept art, doing digital and 3D stuff. And one of my instructors was like, since you like watercolors, you should try gouache. And I was like, at the time, I was like, I'm not familiar with gouache at all. I've never used it. And, it's two instructors. They're like, give it a try. And once I tried it, I was like, oh, I see why they say if you like watercolor, try gouache. Because I can water it down and get that same watercolor effect. And for me, the reason I didn't get back into oil painting is the cleanup, the chemicals, the waiting times. Gouache dries fast. Like I just painted this and I can already touch it. Oils, you can't do that. I'd be smearing stuff all over the place. And acrylics are nice, but because I don't finish a painting all in one sitting, when acrylics dry, they're dry. And that's it. I could take some water like I did here. This is where I dropped that green paint. And then I was able to get it off. I take a little water and I can reactivate the paint that's already on the picture and still play with it and blend it. So when I come back to this later on, even though it's dry, a little bit of water and I can reactivate it. And I love that about the medium as well. It's good to learn with, it's good to explore with. The colors, I'm getting some nice vibrant colors. And if I water it down, I can easily get a watercolor effect. And if I want to, I can go a little heavy and get an acrylic or not necessarily an oil effect, but I can get a thicker paint than watercolors. I can get a thicker vibe. How we doing? All right, we're doing good. I want to be done at 10:30. It's gonna be a little bit over. And I still do watercolors. I use watercolors when I go out to paint in the park on the weekends. Um, I keep watercolors in my van because they don't reactivate. I can do a real quick painting, real quick sketch in watercolor at the park, and and keep them in the van. And I still do, and they look good on. I was trying to think of what I wanted to go with this. Watercolors look great with pen and ink and marker. So a lot of my sketches, I'll use watercolor because the ink and the marker sits right on top of them, and it just looks beautiful. A lot of my arcane pictures are mixed media of pen and ink, watercolor, and marker, and I think they look absolutely beautiful. All right, I'm kind of smoking through this pretty fast. I should only be a few minutes over. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this hair, making that transition from locks to snakes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun just playing with that transition. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. The other thing I like about gouache is it's thicker and very easy to manage. Watercolor kind of has a mind of its own sometimes. The watercolor's like, I'm going to go where I want to go. And you're like, I don't want you to go there. And the watercolor's like, well, you don't control me. But that's part of the fun of it, is that it's going to go where it wants to go. It's going to give you some really nice shapes and flow and design. And it's affordable. Watercolor and gouache, way more affordable than oil paint. Oh, absolutely. I would say if you want to get into painting, I would say 100% start with gouache. Again, why? Because you can get gouache, water it down, and use it like a watercolor. Or you can keep it thick and get a nice opaque painting, and learn how to control the brush, the medium, and then if you want to expand into acrylics or expand into oil paint, it's so much easier, um, having this background. Uh, I would definitely recommend it. I would say go with the gouache. Don't go watercolor unless you just love watercolor, which I did. I loved watercolor. I was doing watercolor. I had never used gouache, but then once I was introduced to it, I was like, oh, I get it. I really get it. And I still love oil paint too. I just It's different. It's different. Like I'm resting my hand on the painting now. I'm actually off camera. I'm resting my hand, which I wouldn't be able to do with oil paint because it doesn't dry. Now a lot of people are using thin oil paint, especially some of the artists that are doing um, some comic cover work. They're using very thin oil. A lot of people are using acrylic, and you can get gouache in designer gouache. It's called designer gouache or artist gouache or illustrator gouache. And that's what I use because what that means is water will reactivate it. And then you can get acrylic gouache, which means when it dries, it'll dry. But it's a little different than just straight acrylic because you can water it down. You don't use it straight out of the tube. Acrylics you pretty much use straight out of the tube. And but acrylics are nice because they give you a nice big a bright color. They give you that nice bright poster color. But I would say, get a few tubes of acrylic gouache, a few tubes of uh, designer gouache. See what you like. Do you want to be able to reactivate the paint, or do you, when it dries, you want it to just be dry and you can paint over it? That's the cool thing about painting too, is you can paint over it. It's not a problem. It's very forgiving. And later on, if you decide, you want to transition to oils, it will be a much smoother transition because you already know how to work paint and you haven't spent a bunch of money. Because one tube of oil paint, woo, man. Once, if you decide to get into doing more finish work, gouache like Winsor Newton gouache is much different from some of the other brands. If you wanted to get into it and you got the Amazon, which I know you do, look up Arteza gouache. It looks like this. And I think you can get a pack of 24 colors for under $10 or something like that. And I produce professional paintings with it. You know, as you can see, this is a mixture of Arteza gouache, Winsor Newton gouache, whole bean gouache. Now, I'll say the whole bean I prefer the most. I prefer the whole bean, the creaminess and smoothness of it. The Winsor Newton probably has the best opacity. The Arteza has the best price and a great color selection. That's what I love about Arteza. They have a crazy color collection. It's bananas. I'm like, ooh, man, I ain't even got to mix. I can just, go straight into from the tube to the paint. And then they have the metallics, they have the pearls, and I love doing it. And we are almost done for tonight. Just got this last little bit. How we doing on time? We are exactly at the 2 hour mark. Almost. No, I actually started late. I was like 6 minutes late tonight. So maybe I am on time. So we're right at the 2 hour mark, which is what I wanted. And this last part here is where the big hair comes in. Again, I want to thank people for watching, joining in, watching the replay. However, you're seeing this, thank you very much. I would be doing this anyway, so it's nice to see other people potentially enjoy watching the work, rewatching the work. I'm not trying to make tutorials. This is just, I'm not a instructor by any means. I'm still learning I'm an art practitioner. I do professional illustration, but I'm no, I'm no pro, you know, that has so much to teach. I enjoy it. I still have a lot to get better at and learn. Um, and I think that's what my drive is that I don't feel like, there's nothing left for me here. I've made the best piece I'm ever going to make. That that's for me the main drive is I don't think I've made the best piece I'm ever going to make. And like in bowling, you can bowl a 300 game, and then that's it, right? That's the best you can do. If you're bowling, you bowl a 300, it it never is going to get better than that. You can't get a 301. Whereas this painting looks good. When I finish with it, my goal is for it to look great, but I know that could be just a little bit better too. When I finish it, I'm going to look back and go, maybe I could have spent a little bit more time on this part or this part. Or maybe when I do another painting a couple of months from now, I learn a new technique and I go, ooh, if only I had done that on the Gorgon. I'm really good at pen and ink, but I still learn stuff. And I'm really good at graphite. And I've been doing graphite drawings for 50 years. So, but I'm still like, ooh, I've learned some new stuff I can do with a graphite pencil. Not to mention the fact I don't do graphite pencil drawings that much anymore, but I still do them. I do a lot of graphite drawing for my women. Um, that's where I still do a lot of the female drawings is graphite female drawings. I have a few friends that do modeling, and I'll do some of their photos in graphite, and it looks beautiful. Ooh, that snake looks mean. All right, we're on the last snake head. And I think we're going to be right at the 2 hour mark, which makes me happy. And the reason I say that is one of the things I have to do in professional work is be able to tell somebody how long it's going to take me to do something for them. So if they go, "Oh, can you do this painting for my book cover?" I have to be able to tell them how long it's going to take me. So if they go, I go, "When's your book cover due?" "Oh, I need it this weekend." Well, no, I'm I can do a digital. If you want something digital, I can do that. But you're not going to get an original painting this weekend, and you're just asking me now, which I get sometime. Well, you know, it doesn't have to be blank blank. I'm like, no, you can't. It just no. but I can do digital. I don't have to worry about dry time. I don't have to worry about, I got an undo button. There's no undo button here. There's no, you can fix stuff, but there's no undo button. And the ear will be the last piece. And I want the ear to be slightly lighter, not too much. I'm actually just going to put a wash on it now just to kill that. Just to kill it. Because that looks weird. And I don't want that in there anymore. I want to cover it up. So I just made it a little bit lighter. And get rid of that. Now I've got everything blocked in except the eyes. I want the eyes to be the focal point. So I'm going to spend a lot more time on the eyes. And, you know, I think that's a good block in. Let's get a thumbnail shot. Hold it here for a second so that I get a nice thumbnail shot for the video. And so I appreciate everybody stopping by. This is part 4 of our Gorgon. And I think, I'm not sure if we're going to work on this one live anymore. It might be to the point where I'm just doing detail work now, which I would do off camera because it's tedious and maybe not fun to see. Just depends. Next week, I may actually start a new painting. I don't know who's up next. I think it's either Godzilla or Merlin, or Ra. It was either going to be Ra, Godzilla, or Merlin. So I'll throw up a poll and see what people want to see. But I definitely want to thank everyone for stopping by. Anybody who's rewatching this, thank you for your support. Mr. Black 75, absolutely thank you. I appreciate, you've been on 2 shows now. So I recognize that, and I thank you very much for your support. And thanks for hanging out. Good to learn more about you. I definitely say order a few tubes of the Artesia for a couple of bucks and a pack of paintbrushes with rounds and flats and get started. All right, take it easy. Peace. Everybody, you all have a good night.